Welcome back to WION World is One. You're watching Speed News with me, Vidur Kathuria. Let's get started. The UN Security Council has approved a US-drafted resolution supporting President Donald Trump's Gaza peace plan, including the possible deployment of an international force. The resolution passed with 13 votes in favor, with only Russia and China abstaining. No vetoes were cast, allowing the measure to move forward. Washington hailed the vote as historic and constructive, calling it a major step in efforts to stabilize Gaza and support the fragile ceasefire. Hamas rulers have formally rejected a UN resolution calling for an international force in the territory. In a statement, Hamas said the resolution fails to respect Palestinians' political and humanitarian demands and rights. The group criticized the plan to deploy an international force whose mission could include disarming Palestinian groups, calling it an imposition of an international trusteeship on Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has condemned what he called the violent actions of a handful of extremists among Israeli settlers in the occupied West Bank. He said he views the riots with great severity and stressed the perpetrators do not represent the wider settler community. It follows attacks on Monday in which homes and vehicles were torched and vandalized in a Palestinian village. The violence erupted after demonstrators clashed with Israeli security forces who were dismantling an illegal settler outpost in the area. Netanyahu urged authorities to take firm action against those responsible. "76 Palestinian patients along with their attendants have arrived at Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis after being unable to enter Gaza for more than 2 years. They were transported by bus into the southern Gaza Strip, where hospitals have been struggling with shortages of medicine, equipment and staff. In India, the Enforcement Directorate has conducted raids at the Okhla office of the Al-Falah University, which is under scanner for the blast near Red Fort in Delhi that killed at least 10. The bomber, Dr. Umar Rabi, had been working there as an assistant professor in the General Medicine Department. The early morning raids follow a government-ordered forensic audit of the university's records, along with directives to the ED and other financial agencies to investigate the institution's finances and track any suspicious money trails. US President Donald Trump has announced plans to sell F-35 fighter jets to Saudi Arabia, praising the kingdom as a strong US partner. The move comes ahead of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's first visit to Washington in over 7 years. Trump said the sale would advance regional security and his push to extend the Abraham Accords, aiming to normalize relations between Saudi Arabia and Israel. However, concerns remain over Israel's military edge and the potential transfer of sensitive F-35 technology. Officials say Saudi participation may hinge on guarantees for a future Palestinian state. US President Donald Trump is reversing course, saying he will sign the bill to release the Epstein files if Congress approves it and sends it to his desk. From the Oval Office, Trump told reporters he is all for it and said the administration would turn over everything. Trump also said he doesn't want the issue to take away from what he calls the Republican Party's achievements. The shift follows similar remarks he made Sunday night, a notable change after previously pushing back on the proposal, even as more Republicans lined up behind it. The House is moving towards a vote and the bill is expected to pass. The Chinese Foreign Ministry has said that no meeting is planned between Premier Li Qiang and Japanese Prime Minister on the sidelines of the upcoming G20 summit in South Africa amid rising tensions over Taiwan. The latest chill in relations began after Japanese Prime Minister Sani Takaichi said that a military attack by mainland China on Taiwan could amount to a survival-threatening situation for Japan, language that could open the door for the deployment of Japan's self-defense forces. A Serbian mother has ended her 2-week hunger strike over the death of her son in a roof collapse, saying she wants to stay alive so she can join anti-government protests. Diana Hurka's 27-year-old son, Stefan, was one of 16 people killed last year when the roof of a newly renovated railway station in Novi Sad gave way. Public anger over alleged mismanagement and the lack of prosecutions has grown into a mass protest movement demanding President Alexander Vucic's resignation. The government denies wrongdoing and accuses opponents of politicizing the tragedy. Pro and anti-government groups have clashed in recent weeks as both sides draw large crowds. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum says Mexican airlines have agreed to give up some flight slots at Mexico City's main airport to US carriers, easing a dispute over how flights are allocated. She did not say how many slots will change hands, but noted a new digital distribution system is coming next year, with US airlines already participating. The move follows recent US restrictions on Mexican carriers, including the cancellation of several routes and flights from the newer Felipe Angeles airport. Sheinbaum says US authorities must recognize the importance of both airports. British Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood says the UK will make a refugee status temporary, cutting initial protection from 5 years to 2.5. Refugees will only be able to renew their status if it's still unsafe for them to return home. The government is also sharply tightening the path to permanent settlement, raising the requirement from 5 years in the UK to 20 years. Mahmood says the overhaul is designed to deter migrants making the dangerous channel crossing from France in small boats, a key political issue for the government. The UN's humanitarian chief, Tom Fletcher, says nearly 2 in every 3 people in Sudan now need aid, calling the situation one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. Sudan has been gripped by brutal fighting since April 2023, when the army and the rapid support forces turned their power struggle into a nationwide war. The conflict has devastated communities, driven millions from their homes, and left large parts of the country without food, medicine, or basic services. The UN is urgently appealing for greater international support. Bolivians took to the streets to defend the iconic carnival clown Pepino after the character appeared in a Peruvian festival, sparking accusations of cultural appropriation. The dispute erupted when videos showed Pepino being used in the Candelaria Virgin celebration in Lima. In Bolivia, Pepino, known as Cucumber, is the mischievous spirit who comes back to life each February to launch Carnival in La Paz, in a ritual that begins at the city's general cemetery. The uproar has prompted officials in La Paz to urge the Culture Ministry to respond, noting past clashes with Peru over traditional dances like the Morenada and the Hablada. Following large protests in Prague against Czech billionaire Andrej Babis, tens of thousands have taken to the streets in Bratislava to protest against Slovakia's Prime Minister Robert Fico. The demonstrations target Fico's nationalist policies and his perceived closeness to the Kremlin. Protesters called for greater transparency and democratic reforms, voicing concerns over Slovakia's political direction. The rallies reflect a broader wave of public unrest in Central Europe, where citizens are increasingly challenging leaders accused of undermining democratic norms. Iraq has confirmed the final results of its parliamentary elections. Prime Minister Mohammed al-Sudan's last list came first, winning 46 seats in the 329-member legislature. No single party can form a government alone, meaning coalition building will be necessary, a process that can take months in Iraq. Port-au-Prince in Haiti saw schools and shops closed as parents were urged to keep children home amid rising gang violence. The Haitian National Police mobilized all personnel patrolling the streets to respond to potential barricades by gangs linked to notorious leader Jimmy Cherizier. Last week, suspected gang members opened fire on US Marines guarding the American embassy, while a police operation killed 7 gang members. Gangs now control 90% of the capital, extorting businesses and displacing more than 1.3 million people. The UN plans a 5,500-strong force to help restore security. Bangladesh's Awami League has called for a nationwide shutdown after former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and ex-Home Minister Asad-Uzzaman Khan were sentenced to death in absentia by the International Crimes Tribunal in Dhaka. The convictions for crimes against humanity relate to the deadly crackdown during the July-August 2024 uprising that ended Hasina's 15-year rule. According to a UN report, crackdown reportedly killed up to 1,400 people. Both leaders, now in exile in India, called the verdict politically motivated and said they acted in good faith to minimize loss of life. Pope Leo has called for concrete actions on climate change, saying some world leaders lack the political will to act. Speaking to religious leaders on the sidelines of the COP30 summit, the Pope described the Paris Agreement as the strongest tool for protecting people and the planet. His comments come as global leaders meet to discuss urgent measures to curb emissions and tackle the climate crisis. Severe flooding has struck Bolivia's Samaipata municipality in the Santa Cruz department following heavy rains and river overflows. Communities including Achira and Cuevas have been particularly affected, with homes submerged and streets blocked by mud and debris. At least 6 people are missing and several others have been injured. Samaipata's mayor has called for urgent assistance from national and regional authorities for rescue and relief efforts. Heavy rains in Kenya have pushed Lake Naivasha beyond its banks, flooding nearby homes and forcing families to flee. Residents say the rising water has made even daily life impossible. Authorities warn that continued rainfall could worsen flooding across the region, adding to the growing number of people already displaced in communities around the lake. Residents of El Carmen, Cuba have blocked a highway to protest being without electricity for 22 days following Hurricane Melissa at the end of October. Using falling trees and power poles from the storm, villagers halted traffic on the road from Santiago de Cuba. Authorities, including police, a military truck, and the head of the Cuban Electric Union, arrived to clear the blockade. Officials said more than 700,000 people were evacuated and over 54,000 remain unable to return to their homes, with 7,500 in shelters. A man convicted over a 2020 Twitter hack targeting celebrities and politicians has been ordered to repay $5.4 million in Bitcoin. Joseph James O'Connor, 26 years old, pleaded guilty in the US to computer intrusion, wire fraud and extortion and was sentenced to 5 years in prison in 2023. He was arrested in Spain in 2021 and extradited after the High Court ruled the US was best placed to prosecute. Britain's Crown Prosecution Service said it had obtained a civil recovery order to seize 42 Bitcoin and other crypto assets linked to the scam. The assets will be liquidated by a court-appointed trustee. The attack compromised accounts of Joe Biden, Elon Musk, Barack Obama, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and Kim Kardashian, with hacked accounts sending messages to solicit digital currency. Prosecutor Adrian Foster said the move ensures O'Connor does not benefit from his criminality. Jeff Bezos will serve as co-chief executive of a new artificial intelligence startup, the New York Times reported. The company, called Project Prometheus, focuses on AI for engineering and manufacturing computer, automobiles, and spacecraft. The startup has raised $6.2 billion in funding, including money from Bezos himself, making it one of the world's most well-financed early-stage AI firms. This is the first time Bezos has taken a formal operational role since stepping down as Amazon CEO in 2021. He remains the founder of his space company, Blue Origin. His co-CEO will be Vic Bajaj, a physicist and chemist who previously worked with Google co-founder Sergey Brin at Google's X, also known as the Moonshot Factory. Project Prometheus has hired nearly 100 employees, including researchers from OpenAI, DeepMind, and Meta. Video games may be seen by some as a waste of time, but for many, they are a defining part of art, pop culture, and daily life. Now, a new museum in Zagreb, Croatia, is putting half a century of gaming history on display. From 1960s computers and 70s arcade machines to modern consoles and mobile games, the interactive exhibition is drawing young visitors curious about what their parents once played and tourists looking for a hit of nostalgia. The museum is the creation of retired game developer Damir Slogar, who spent decades in Europe and Canada before turning his private collection into Croatia's first video game museum. It features rare hardware, including the original computer space, the world's first arcade machine. Slogar says visitors have responded with overwhelmingly positive reviews. Gold fell for a fourth straight session on Tuesday, pressured by a firmer dollar and shrinking expectations of a US rate cut in December. Spot gold edged down to about $4,031 per ounce, while US futures also retreated. Analysts say a stronger dollar and reduced speculative positions are weighing on prices, with Fed officials signaling a slower approach to further rate cuts. Investors are now watching key US data, including this week's non-farm payrolls, for fresh clues on economic momentum. Silver also dipped, while platinum rose slightly and palladium extended losses as metal markets remain cautious. Oil prices fell as supply worries eased because loadings resumed at Russia's Novorossiysk hub, which had been halted after a Ukrainian attack. Markets are now refocusing on the long-term impact of Western sanctions on Rosneft and Lukoil, which could crimp Russian exports over time. Analysts note that Russian crude is traded at a deep discount now, and investors are weighing whether the supply risk is really dissipating. Meanwhile, Goldman Sachs says prices might rise above $70 per barrel in 2026-27 if Russian production falls sharply. Bitcoin slipped back toward $90,000 as broader technology sell-off rattled global equities. The slip deepens a sell-off that erased all of its gains for the year, and now traders are scrambling for downside protection, especially around the $90,000 mark. And $85,000 mark and $80,000 levels. Ether, the world's second largest cryptocurrency, slumped to below $3,000, bringing its decline to 24% since early October. Investor sentiment was hit by weakness in big tech names, which is rippling through to risk assets like crypto. Markets now watch for corporate earnings and US central bank signals as tech risks continue to shape both traditional and digital asset flows.